The town never forgot the day the spring died. It was 6 a.m. when the bulldozers arrived, unannounced, unapologetic. I woke to the sound of engines growling like beasts, their blades sinking into the earth that had nurtured my family for generations. That crystal clear spring wasn't just water, it was life. It ran through the veins of our land long before anyone laid fences or bylaws here. My grandfather used to say, "As long as the spring flows, our home breathes." That morning, they suffocated it. The HOA president, Cynthia, watched with folded arms and a polished smile as workers filled the spring with concrete, citing flood management concerns. She didn't even make eye contact when she told me, "It's for community safety. You'll understand. Eventually." She was wrong. I didn't understand. I didn't forgive. I didn't forget. And eventually, they understood. Act 1, the loss. The spring fed my garden, supplied water to my small honey business, and filled the pond where my kids once played. After it was destroyed, the land dried up. The bees left. My income plummeted. My daughter Emily, only 8, cried when she saw the brittle plants. My wife Sarah tried to stay strong, but I saw the fear every time she checked our savings. Neighbors whispered apologies, but no one stood up to the HOA. Fear of fines, they said. Fear of retaliation. What about fear of watching your family suffer? I tried reason, filed complaints, contacted environmental agencies. I spent nights researching water rights, even found documents proving the spring was a protected natural feature. But somehow permits had been approved overnight. Strings pulled, signatures forged. No one admitted it, but everyone knew. This wasn't about the spring, it was about control. Act 2, the turning point. 3 weeks later, a brutal storm hit our town. Our land flooded badly. Not from the spring, but because with it blocked, there was nowhere for natural runoff to go. It spilled across yards into driveways, right up to the HOA president's home. While neighbors panicked, I walked quietly through the downpour, staring at the water pooling in places it never had. They didn't fix a flood risk. They created one. That night, I stood at my grandfather's old workbench and found the faded plans he drew decades ago, showing natural water flow, drainage paths, and underground channels leading to the spring. "Water always finds its way," he'd said. I realized I didn't need to fight the HOA. I just needed to help nature finish what it started. Act 3, Operation Restoration. I began by restoring the underground stream, quietly, at night. I dug small channels back toward the original waterbed, using old farm tools and knowledge passed down through generations. I studied rainfall patterns, soil behavior. Nature became my ally. I wasn't sabotaging homes. I was letting water reclaim its path. Weeks passed. HOA didn't notice, but the land did. Plants revived. Bees returned. My pond started filling again. And then heavy rains came, just as expected. Act 4, the swamp effect. The water followed the channels, and the land responded exactly as nature intended. My property absorbed it smoothly. Other homes, especially those with paved-over drainways and fancy landscaping, were less forgiving. Cynthia's manicured backyard turned into a swamp. Puddles the size of small ponds formed outside the driveways of every HOA board member. Underground garages flooded. Decorative retaining walls crumbled. Nature wasn't attacking. She was correcting. Neighbors panicked. Again. This time they didn't turn to the HOA. They came to me. Act 5, the awakening. One morning, Cynthia showed up at my door. She was drenched, not from rain but shame. "I need your help," she whispered. For a moment I thought of all the pain she caused, all the arrogance, all the dismissals. But beside her were 3 families holding their children, the same way I'd held mine on that day by the destroyed spring. So I stepped outside. I gathered the community, showed them my grandfather's water plans, taught them how natural drainage worked. Together we rebuilt what the HOA tried to erase: stone runoff paths, rain gardens, green basins. We donated weekends, tools, and sweat. We restored the spring, not by force, by unity. Final act, ripple of change. 6 months later, the spring flowed again, clearer and stronger than ever. It became a town gathering place. Kids played by it. Elderly residents sat nearby telling stories. Someone even suggested naming it Hope Spring. The HOA board was restructured. Environmental responsibility clauses were added. Cynthia resigned publicly, but she stayed in town, volunteering at every restoration effort since. One day she said quietly, "I tried to control nature. You taught me to work with it." My honey business thrived again, customers coming from nearby towns, drawn by the story. My daughter planted wildflowers around the spring, and they bloomed with colors I'd never seen before. Closing message. When they drained my spring, they thought they silenced me. Instead, they awakened something far stronger. You can bury water. You can concrete the earth, but you cannot stop what is meant to flow. In life, some people will try to control your path, restrict it, redirect it, drain it. Let them, then rebuild. When your time comes, let your strength flood every barrier, not to destroy it, but to restore. Because the greatest revenge is not ruin, it is renewal. Fade out to the sound of flowing water, soft, steady, unstoppable.